Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Remember that you can join the Patreon right now and get the daily expected moves for every stock that we like to cover on this channel. So get that if you have some expiration today. That would be very, very helpful. We do get some data, and something about the data that I am noticing is I don't necessarily see how this is bullish in some way. We actually see that we are now ticking up again on unemployment from the previous at 4.2. We see non-farm payrolls coming in at 227K, which might be seen as okay until you see that the previous just got updated to 36K, and most likely this will be updated as well. So something going on here that was really driving, I was like, man, this thing is going up. But then I just paid attention to what the dollar is doing. And in recent time, we have seen the correlation of the dollar up and the stock market going down has been taking over, right? We talked about that lie during our Saturday video where the dollar, the 10-year yield, and the stock market all going up at the same time, and now the dollar is coming down, the stock market is going up, and that is a good thing to see. So we see a negative correlation now with the dollar, and I wanted to point out this reversal signal right here. You do see the 4-hour divergence down here for the MACD, for the RSI, and originally this morning, this RSI was all the way down here. Now it has built all the way back up, showing us a possibility for confirmation. God dang it, can't talk this morning. Possible confirmation of divergence with this 4-hour. Is that going to turn up? And then we're going to see this rug pull over the weekend, because the dollar heading up here is not a good thing. Now we do notice that people are getting us more and more bullish. We notice that the 2-hour is coming down to test these levels. We don't necessarily have the best divergences in this area. So what we really want to pay attention to is just, can we take back the 5-day by the end of today? What we want to see though is the reaction in the market so far is bullish. So we have to pay attention to the fact that this market can go higher. And this is something we were more saying, hey, I'd like a test of that 5 and then to head higher. That can still happen. And we were just saying how these divergences for the SPY and the Qs were kind of lackluster. Now they are here, so we have to pay attention to them. They have confirmed, but something that would be better would still be to test that 5-day, then get excited and give us that obvious divergence point. But I would really be paying attention to the dollar. Something is not adding up here. You have a market that is going crazy, crazy bullish. We do have the top of our channel. We could get there if we keep doing more of the same. But I think that puts off some warning signs, right? Some flashing red lights for the market and some of the stocks telling you that you should be a little bit weary out there. Just so you are aware, I'm going to click through a couple here. Amazon. Amazon is screaming, screaming, screaming higher, and it looks good. It has divergence there saying the 2-hour might pull back, but there is a big problem here. And maybe we do just get a 2-hour pullback because this thing is way up there. We'd like to see something like this, but a 2-hour pullback down to the 5 could end up taking place, and we'll see if that's able to happen. But if this keeps going higher, this is going to be a big issue, because this is as high up as the options market sees Amazon going for the entire month of December, and you're starting to get these wicks to come in. It doesn't mean we can't get above it. We can see something crazy. We can absolutely blow off top like we're blowing off top of the blow off top of the blow off top right now. Market still remains bullish, so we got to stay with that trend. But I'm just saying how Amazon is giving you a warning here, saying this is as high up as I'm supposed to go. Another one that's giving you a slight warning is Microsoft. Now, are these going to pop off and see something absolutely insane, or are we going to see this start to fall in some kind of rug pull moment? This is the weird part, is a lot of people are still fearful. So if there's a lot of fear in the market, that would be interesting. But if something bad does happen, we can actually see a flash sell, which would be interesting, because the SPY, you notice, has been trickling up and trickling up and trickling up. You can wipe out a lot of price action and go down towards the price point of about 600, which I think would be a great retest and would line up with your 20-day moving average on the daily scale. So something I'm paying attention to is 600, because one, I kind of marked off this line, then I went and looked at some data and I go, oh, 600 is where a lot of the puts are at. Where a lot of people are piling on that put wall is 600. The other level that has all the calls that you need to pay attention to, well, I don't have to add an extra line because you have a red line that shows you exactly where that is. 610. 610 is where you really want to start to pay attention. Okay, 610.06 is our daily expected move, but we also have some call walls there for the next couple of weeks. So 610 is something, and you do have people even reaching out towards the 620 level. You have people really reaching out for this thing. So very interesting, still a very bullish trend. But I think a lot of people are worried about this market right now. Doesn't mean I'm going to try to call some kind of big move down. I'm just going to let the signals tell me what's going on. Right now it is saying, hey, weakness potential, but is it the most weak? Well, when you look at the Qs, you're going, is this going to be the weakest move in the world, or is this probably going to curl up on a 30-minute one more time? It's probably going to curl up on a 30-minute one more time. Does that happen today, or do we pull back today and then see that next week? Or do we just make some kind of quick move like this and it's all said and done? That's what we're going to pay attention to throughout our day. Notice that the Qs as well, outside of a weekly expected move. Okay, we're going to talk a lot about how this stuff can shape up on Saturday, so make sure you're subscribed, and thank you so much for liking the video. Really do appreciate that. But I think something you really have to be keeping your eye on is the dollar. Is the dollar going to be able to confirm back up on this 4-hour? Because remember, the last time that we saw a 4-hour divergence was way down here. Like, if you really want to talk about the last time we had a really significant 4-hour divergence, it's the same look, right? It's just in a different place. You have this move down, you loop up, you see a double touch, you see almost a triple touch. Well, if we go take that and look over here, you have one move down. You got this move down, you get a reaction with the 2-hour divergence there, you see the 4-hour pop up, you come back down, you dip twice, and then can we actually curl that up? So that's going to be very important to pay attention to. We'll look for triple dips and things like that. I think you have the chance that the dollar could come in for a moment, and then we might actually see that subside and see another run in this move, but we'll see as this shapes up. It looks like it's just very hard to call. It's very hard to say that this is some kind of big trap. It looks like a trap here, but the data I'm seeing says, hey, people are overall kind of weary of some kind of trap, which usually means it's not going to play out the way that you would hope. So we'll still pay attention to it. Volatility has already confirmed up on the 4-hour. You're noticing a huge drop down in volatility. This is weird, but this is actually what you want to see. You want to see it drop down again. You want people to get more bullish and then see that kind of just turn back around, take back the 5 again. We are still up by positive territory. If the 2-hour curls down, we might squeeze until volatility goes down to 12.12, and you might actually see some moments like this one. Okay, we're going to pull up the daily scale. We're going to show you these reactions around 12.12, and we might go through this kind of time where you come down to lower levels, go down on 12 down to 12.12, you start seeing reactions off of 12.12 till you pile up, and then eventually with some divergences you're able to break through. You notice we do not have that right now, so that tells us, hey, we should be open to pullbacks that can probably end up going higher unless we start to see some bigger time frames, weeklies curl down, monthlies curl down, things like that. So most of the time it's going to be weeklies. But I just want you to pay attention to now, because I think we have a moment where this market actually can get down to 12.12, and we might see one of those first pullback moments like right here, where you pull back, you retest that 200, then you end up falling off, and you actually head down to lower levels, and then sometime in January, we actually see volatility come in. That's something I'm watching. I'm also watching for topping signals in December. This is a massive move, and we have not seen that corrective move, so this is what I'm worried about for the market, right? I'm still not seeing the signals for this to be some kind of massive drop on the daily scale. Usually you will always see them. It's like 90% of the time, probably 95% of the time, you're going to see some type of signal up here that tells you on the MACD and RSI at the same time that this is going to fall down, and you're just not seeing that. So I think a likely thing would be we get some kind of quick corrective move and we end up actually going higher, and then we see that start to form, right? Maybe up towards a weekly expected move. Now, that doesn't have to be super quick. We can start to come down, see a little bounce start to come down, and then come into this 20, move into the upside as we're touching top Bollinger. But I would really be paying attention to 600, and then we can pay attention to next week's weekly expected move to see if we're able to base out in some way to head higher, or if that's going to leak out for a couple of weeks and then you actually base out and head higher. Just pointing out you do not have the signals here, pointing out that this signal right here is pretty much above it. It's too flat for me to say, oh yeah, that's going to be some kind of big downturn. I'm still going to treat it like it can be because we're up towards a monthly. We have stocks at their monthlies or above them. We have, you know, crazy things happening for the week, and we just, in my opinion, got bad data. In my opinion, that's not good data, and we're seeing an upside move from it. And I think you're seeing the reaction from the dollar initially, people piling in, but now I think you're going to see the dollar turn the other way. We'll see. It still has to confirm, and I think we at least have maybe another 30-minute move higher with this type of pullback. So we'll see. We're very tight on these Bollinger Bands, but I don't really want those on the shorter time frames. All right, guys, so thank you for coming in. We got 2 minutes to the open. I just want to watch the SPY for the most part today. I'm going to be clicking on things on my other charts. So if you have any questions, I will be looking at them on my other screen. And if I see something good on them, I'll bring them back up over here. All right, where did I want to see the dollar dropping off? If the dollar keeps dropping off, that would still signal that we have good things to come in the market. So if that 4 hour doesn't confirm, you would say, hey, that is a good sign for the market as they are going back into a negative correlation. Yeah, we can run over and look at some things like Tesla and just say, hey, well, does this have major reversal signal? No. Right, so I was one just shouting it out again. I think a pullback for Tesla would be great, right? This is a great move. We just need to go retest that 5, and we're confident that can make another move higher, but you don't see reversals here for Tesla at the moment. Okay, you don't see it for Tesla at the moment. We do see a little bit still on the 2 hour, so if that's just going to be a random occurrence, we'll pay attention to it. Just so you know, Tesla is seeing something crazy for the week, I believe. Yeah, seeing something crazy for the week. It does have a little bit more upside for the month. Amazon is one of the ones that is really like, hey, I'm tapped out. I need to pull back on this 2 hour. And we can do something like this, right? We can just do something like that. And that would make a lot more sense. Okay? Just do something like we did in the past. Not try to get tricky with it. Just watch this curl down, watch this curl back up, and then we'll see if we get some forms of weakness for Amazon sometime in December, as it is as high as it's supposed to go according to the options market, with a 68% confidence for the entire month of December, and you're 6 days into the month. All right, guys, let's pop back over to the 30-minute for the SPY. Let's see if we can confirm another move up here. And this fresh here. Hold on, I got something weird going on over here. What the hell is going on with the... I'm leaving everything. Something's funky over here. I can't tell what the hell is going on over there. Yeah, I got too much weird. That's just too much weird behavior over there. So we're seeing these things pop up, and I just want to see, hey, how is volatility reacting early in the morning? How is the dollar reacting early in the morning? Are we going to just whip this thing back around? What is going on here? We're noticing some levels for the SPY that we can pay attention to. Still 610.06. I actually want to go see. Looking at. All right, let's see if we get a signal today. Bitcoin, another good thing for Bitcoin here would be the 2-hour move higher. The daily able to cross up. That would be a good thing. 4-hour is trying to curl up into positive territory. We don't really have reversal signals, not even clear ones for the 4-hour. This still could be an overall positive trend. All right, let me go pull up Amazon real quick, because that thing is once again trying to reject off of the monthly. We're seeing some good. Seeing good stuff. Toby, shh. Quiet. Focus here, buddy. IWM was interesting. IWM is one I would look at right now. IWM on the 2-hour for a simple swing trade. If this is able to confirm all of the swing trade signals, IWM would suggest there is more positivity to be had. But the 2-hour looks cooked for the SPY. Can remain cooked for a while. Interesting stuff, man. This is such a wild market. It's so like crazy bullish with no, like little to no pullback. That's why we're always, you know, the main message that we keep touting out lately is just like be open to it going higher. It's still squeezing. It's still squeezing. DJT seeing a nice move. That was what I was looking for from DJT. They fought the hell out of AMC and GME yesterday, by the way, just so you're aware. The short sale volume went kind of through the roof. For a one-day move is pretty crazy. Ah, no. And then obviously dilution will not help originally. It'll be interesting to see if Adam Aaron, it'll be interesting to see because there's only really two things I see, which is it fishy for him to do it now, or did he get a phone call from someone at JP Morgan to dilute now, like to help them out? That's kind of fishy to me. Or is it a way to pay down the debt? But technically, I believe the company that they have the loan with already has the right to take their debt pretty much at any price they see. They don't have to take it at 566, but that was overall what I thought it was saying. And then we see this dilution to JP Morgan, which I just think, I believe it was to JP Morgan at least. And I just think that's super interesting. But I do see that AMC short sale volume is just rocketing to the upside. Let me get out of this data for a sec and watch the SPY. The SPY is going to be important. I want to see if this is quick. And if you go over to GME shorts, right, we can see if they were fighting it yesterday, and you're starting to see how that's ticking up. All right, it's really starting to tick up. You've crossed up on the MACD right by the center line, right after you curled down, kind of like the last time, honestly. And you're starting to see that scale up. So we'll see if that can continue. But just know they are most likely ready to fight the stock on something like earnings. Wonder if that'll come down now, like the short sale volume. One thing that was crazy is Palantir. Palantir is as well in a risky spot now, unless this thing is just, you know, going to keep squeezing into, you know, madness. But Palantir is starting to get to an area where it's like, okay, you need a breather, like a serious 2-hour breather here. Be very cautious with something like Palantir. It is something that I think is a good stock. I think it did have a short seller problem possibly in it, right, at certain points. But This is one that retail really likes, and I'm kind of nervous for this one as it goes up towards a monthly expected move. It just tells me if I want to get bullish again, maybe the smarter thing is to wait for the daily pullback. We don't necessarily see the worst daily signals. We do see a divergence here on the RSI if that would actually turn down at some point, but it's not turning down. So that can tell us, hey, if it stays on the RSI and we start to experience a drop, well, that could be pretty significant. That can be pretty significant drop there, and it could really scare people out. But hey, I don't see both signals really. I wouldn't really say this is at the same time. I think we're really far away from the center line. You can curl up into positive territory for possibly another move higher and then really have that trap set. Maybe it's by the end of December. That would be interesting if we trapped at the very end of December. I think that would be very interesting. I still like the mid-January, late January timeline better, but doesn't matter what I like. We got to see how these things shape up over the next couple of weeks. And what is Nail doing right now as the HGX didn't open up yet? Nail getting a reaction up. That's solid. Interesting. AMC still getting some call volume in today. All right, I'm gonna get over to the chat in just one moment. Watching this for now, so now I can go click over on the chat, I think. Sofi is looking a little bit worrisome. I think I do have monthly expected moves, but we were talking about Sofi actually giving possible 2-hour divergences all across this, which just means a daily pullback could be coming, right? A daily pullback can be coming, and that's perfectly fine, right? I'm not bearish on Sofi at all, really. I'm bearish for now. But I think Sofi has a great opportunity to hold up, maybe even at the level of about $13, right? We see that get down for a little while. We see that go down. And I think you are at a point where even in the market, you can get 1 or 2 days that wipe out like 4 days of price action. Because of how high we've gone, you can see a snap reaction to go grab those buyers. But what I want to pay attention to is this. Just the fact that the daily's crossing down, it should say, hey, let me take some off the table and then let me get bullish again later. Maybe we even set up some kind of 2-hour divergence right here, and then you get that little hint, and then it goes to the upside, right? That's what I'm really paying attention to. I don't think it's over for Sofi, just because I don't have the signals that tell me it's over for Sofi. You're right about the price. It didn't have to be 566, and an argument for that, DT, would be oh shoot, what am I trying to say? They have seen some of the best weeks they've had. They're setting records. If he has enough, then 555 or whatever it was would make sense, like that little bit of gap. So if he can post, there's two things. That the good part would be if he posts like, hey, we were able to take care of the rest of our debt. I actually think that would be a good thing for AMC. But right now, obviously the dilution, if that's not the case and he's just doing it for a money grab, and we still have that option for the actual loan company to take those options at 566, I think it would be a little bit rough. I think that there's kind of some weirdness happening in this type of move until we get more info. But Sofi, really just want to look for that daily pullback, just like we're looking for Palantir, still looking for a daily pullback. DJT is one that has swung to the upside, and we're seeing that daily move start to cross up. Not seeing the most positivity just yet. I think you will get it if we can really see this thing open up next week after the retest of the 5. You guys know I was liking the retest of the 5. I'm planning on trying something with this because I think they're going to be very distracted with AMC and GME on this overall move, and we can see if this actually catches a bid here. Another one maybe to pay attention to, Wolf. I want to see if that can catch a move, but it's pretty damn negative. Mara, I think, is interesting as well. It keeps wanting to hold in this zone. I'm wondering if it's flagging or, well, kind of flagging, but wondering if it's just like kind of moving sideways before the next drop. Unfortunate for that. But a lot of these, like SMCI and things like that, they could just pull back or move sideways. Moving sideways is actually fantastic for something like SMCI here, because you see we have this big block. So you're going to need to consolidate a lot if you're going to try to get through that at all. It's a big block of price action. NVIDIA, let's go check on that, and then we're going to pop back over to Tesla and Amazon, check on those for a second. NVIDIA, I think, still has the opportunity to make the 30-minute move higher, right? We're moving sideways. We don't see reversal signal on both at the same time. We see this down on the RSI, but that can just be a flash move down, curl back up, and then next week we actually see something bad. I believe we get CPI next week, but CPI is very unlikely to crash a stock market or see some kind of major move because of that. You might get like a 2% pullback or something over the next couple of days after CPI, but seeing a 5% correction just based on CPI, there'd have to be something else around that happening. Is that going to be AMC and GME? I don't know how that's going to affect the market, to be 100% honest with you. I'm just going to read into the signals. Right now, everything still looks very bullish, especially as we are above the 5 and we can cross up into positive territory. We can see a move like this today very easily. Okay, DT, so you're getting what I'm putting down. Huge AMC volume already, 30 or 50% 30-day average volume already. And this was kind of my theory too, was, is he helping them out to be like, look, we know it's going to happen. I'll give you some shares so you don't hurt as much for a good price. And then you can get those shares, and then boom, the problem comes to light. It actually comes to fruition. That would be interesting, just because we're not seeing a huge loss in value with the call options. We are seeing a loss, but it's not really coming back down to negative with a almost 10% move down. So I think that is very interesting. Is it necessarily good for the stock? No. Chemical plants, and they are releasing a lot of work all of a sudden. Which stocks can we target here in the sector for? Largest industry in these days is not sugarcane, oil, or TUA. It is chemical plants. Well, you can look for maybe even, well, if it's specifically. All right, I gotta let Toby upstairs. Companies, chemicals. See if we can find a couple here. I don't see any I mean, it looks like, well, let's look at a cheap one. Let's look at a cheap one. I'm going to find a cheap one. Because that one really fell off. Get the overview. Okay, let me go look at this one. What is this ticker? Let me make sure I have you guys on the spy. Okay, we do. We're good. Okay, that's not a great look. Yeah, not a good look there. Here, let me let old man upstairs. He's being annoying. Give me a second. I can't think when he's whining. It's like every time I'm in the middle of a thought, it's just, I'm like, oh God. So it's like nails on a chalkboard. I was looking at some companies like LXU. I'm going to go pop over to a couple more. Just going to look at this one at the top here. I just want to check on them before, but LXU looks like it's about to cross down on a daily. Like it looks like it's not going to perform the best. So I want to check another one. Yeah, now you can see, actually, this one you might be able to see something good higher, but you've actually seen these things head up recently, come up to a level where a big cup and handle could form. You have 2 hour divergence. So if you're looking for one that can make a move to the upside, I'd actually say, let me look at this from the monthly. Okay, so apparently the time to buy this, RYAM, Rayonier Advanced Materials, was 569. You've already seen a run up to 845 so far, and you had monthly possible, you know, there's argument for monthly divergence there too. I think it might be a time where, hey, it's backing off. If the daily crosses up on RYAM, you can see good things from just a swing trade perspective and no divergence above you. So I would like another move higher there. All right, there's that move from the SPY. There's that move from the SPY. Seeing if we can go all the way up to something like 610 would make a lot of sense. We just want to see anytime these are at daily expected moves for now and know they can go a tiny bit higher. And then I think you're probably going to at least retrace to the 20. I think that's a good thing. But am I looking for bearish bets right now? Think about maybe a little volatility, but other than that, oh, and the PCC, oh God, okay, well, you know, even though we're not seeing it in some other data, we keep seeing it in the PCC. Just we keep seeing these really low readings throughout the day. People getting extremely bullish. That's 2 days in a row. We see a point of about 0.58 getting touched. That's kind of wild. We gotta always keep our eye on this dollar, okay? We gotta keep our eye on the dollar. Volatility. Is that falling through the floor? We need to see this confirmed down on a 2 hour to be convinced, hey, yeah, we're going to head to 1212 and this is going to be some kind of mega squeeze. That can still happen. It is just, I think, very likely we see at least a 2% pull, a retracement back down to the 20 in some way before we can actually move higher. But that's what I would like to see. If the market just keeps curling up on 30 minutes, you're going to see more positivity. I'm just saying the dollar's starting to move up and the PCC is really, really low. Really, really low. I think you could see a day where it's like, oh no, it just takes out like 3 days of price action in a couple of days. Because we got to look so far. It's like, okay, we got what? 1, 2, 3, what is this? 3 and 4? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just in this here. And so if you wanted to move back down towards here, you would be wiping out like 4 days worth of price action. If you go a little lower, you're wiping out like 7 days of price action. And then that would just get you to your 20. That would pretty much get you to your 20, and that could be where some stuff kicks back in. I just think you need to see good reversal signals to really think that's going to happen so far. I think you have them. You just don't have them on both like very strongly for the SPY and the Qs. So the Qs, very important to see if they just make this divergence point, we get rejection. But I think, yeah, I think you're beelining straight for a daily expected move. And then I would watch above here. If you see some profit taking that leads to downside, we actually can see a trap intraday if the dollar keeps moving higher and people still remain bullish. Getting those crazy calls coming in, man. Holy crap, crazy calls coming in. I will be speaking with Bookmap next week to get that going. I think we need to open up some stuff and get that info intraday for you guys, and I think a lot of you guys would like Bookmap. So I think we're going to talk to them, see if we can get something going with them, see if we can get you guys some kind of deal for Bookmap, so you can see what's going on, right? The PCC doing this is great, but where are those orders going? That's what you can look at on Bookmap. Oh, a mat? Yeah, I've looked at that one before too. Okay, yeah, see, a mat gives at least a better feel for like, hey, we could see some upside. Now, you could go make daily divergence, watch if that daily turns down. You don't necessarily have like the best structure in the world to head up. You actually could see some structure to move down pretty easily here, but it doesn't mean the opportunity is not here at all. We've looked at this one before, And something that I'm noticing is we just have this very easy line right here, possibly a neckline in some way. And we could see that head and shoulders push you down a little bit further. And if that would happen, that's okay. This could be a retest, by the way. Right, this could just be a retest because you do have the divergence going across on the weekly scale, but you don't have the daily and the near price action. Notice that we kind of had it here to see a good run. We don't really have it here. We don't have it here. So what if we do something like this and then we're able to curl up into positive territory? That would be a great signal. But actually, yeah, I think this is the best one that you guys have brought up in that field. But I really do need to pay attention to what's going on in the actual market, because this will dictate a lot of how we talk tomorrow about Saturday's video. Not a bad look there. XLU continues to drop off. Remember, XLU tanked with divergence on just the RSI, not necessarily both at the same time. Not the best, but it's just tanking right now. While HGX, the housing sector, is getting a little reaction there. I'm going to go check on the Dow 30-minute could make that next move higher, but it has confirmed divergence and the 2 hours dropping down. Is the daily close to crossing? That's what you got to ask yourself now. It's pretty damn close. You might get that daily retracement down to about 442. Just 7 points can go a long way. If you need a little more than that, then I would say 437. I think 442 would be good for DIA. All right, I'm gonna keep the Qs up on my left and the SPY up on my right. Qs, I just want to see. Actually, I'll keep the Qs here. I'm gonna keep the SPY over here because the Qs are closer to the daily. And then look out there, my Patreon members, if you see anything hitting a daily expected move, maybe something like Amazon. I wonder if Amazon's going up towards a daily expected move. And just like that, remember Amazon, this is where it gets sketchy. It's going not only outside of a weekly, outside of a monthly, it's going to test a daily expected move today. And people just got really freaking bullish on that PCC. That is just wild. Bullish markets, man. All right, so the SPY over here, still paying attention to that. Got the Qs right here, checking on that real quick. We just want to see how this behaves. And then keep our eye on the dollar over here, just see if that sees a spike up at some point. Because volatility doesn't have the best 30-minute signals right now. Now remember, where could the Qs run into resistance if it wants to go through that daily expected move? Well, I'm going to keep my eye on the SPY, and when the SPY goes and reaches its daily expected move, maybe the Qs are going to be a little bit higher than there, and then we'll pay attention. But this is going to be a serious resistance. Like now you are just absolutely going way up, way too fast. It's just kind of like, take my foot off the gas. I don't think this trend is really over just yet, but taking my foot off the gas for sure. Alrighty. I'm gonna go to the gym today. God, who loves Fridays? I like Fridays. And today might have to be a short Friday, you know? I've been itching to buy me some shorts, buy some volatility. Had to manage once and then I'm being patient. All right, let's see what you guys are chatting about over there. Sorry, I was checking on some stuff again real quick. What happened to AMC? They got diluted. Oh yeah, I have the top one. I have both. It's just I put out both on Patreon. I just give the top one to be helpful for, you know, if people are like a good level to sell at, if you want to take like half profit at that. Yes, they did. So I think it was with, maybe someone can clarify, but I believe it was with JP Morgan. 50 million shares, which is just fishy to me. It's before the 5C. Like it's either he's in bed with someone or he's like, hey, we have enough to pay the debt if we sell it early. Let's do this, pay the debt, and then let this thing go so we're not in any kind of insider trouble for it. That's how I see it. We'll see. Still chopping. Can't get a read. Oh, Goldman Sachs. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. I kept saying JP Morgan. I was like, I feel like I'm wrong on this. So that's why you guys are there. I'm here to stare at the charts. Oh, good old Goldman Sachs. All right, let's go look at, I'm gonna look at MicroStrategy over here on my other charts real quick. Looks like a 30-minute move higher could be taking place. I'm really liking that the 2 hours like holding positive, and now you're seeing that 30 minutes start to pull down, pull back up. So if that 30-minute move happens, you can see some good things. Even if you wanted more clarification on this, I would really be paying attention to even a 4 hour for the swing trade. If you want to see the 2 hour is positive, you're seeing that moment where you break through and then management of the trade for a minute, maybe not the real move. And then you just go, okay, now this is going to break to the upside. Something that happens a lot is if you go up to where you should really complete the cup and then you fail, like you gap above like we did and you fail, you might go make that handle now. You notice that the hand, it looks really, really nice here. So if that 30-minute can confirm up, you might see the actual 4 hour move next higher, the actual 2 hour move that takes you into overbought territory, and then you can start to see signals like this again. So you might have a good trend here for a little while. Just if that 30 minutes got to confirm up and everything's got to keep staying positive, right? We still manage the trade the whole time. And thank you so much for the 199 Jackal. I hope you're having a great Saturday. Yes, this is what I'm looking for from the Qs. This is what I'm looking for weakness in the Qs. This is what I'm looking for weakness in the SPY. The only places I don't really see it are IWM and DIA. DIA already had it, and now it looks like, hey, we're really consolidating to maybe break through again. But you can really see looking for the actual divergence point. And if it doesn't give it to me, guys, if it doesn't give it, well, then it's probably just going to keep doing the same. Right? If we do this and we completely blow this out of the water, then it's probably going to keep doing the same, and maybe we need to pay attention up here. Right? I'm not saying this has to drop today. I'm saying this market's getting real freaking tired and probably needs to revert back to the 20 at some point to keep going higher into 2025. And so a little move like this can be a last trap. And I don't think the data was good this morning, but apparently a lot of people do. I think the dollar starting to climb, that's what we were mentioning early on this morning, is what we need to be paying attention to. People are putting very, very bullish bets now. We've seen multiple days in a row where we're coming down. The PCC is very, very low. And now the dollar has actually made a reversal signal. And we see that starting to reverse with the 4 hour double bottom. Okay, so this really tells me a pullback is likely if this 4 hour can confirm up. But as that's basing out, I really want to be aware of that right now. Like, I gotta be aware of that right now. And I'm not saying this has to be a massive thing. I'm still just more so saying, hey, something to wipe out a few days, go back to that 20, then we turn back up. We see some kind of minor thing like this, and then we create the real trap. If we're going to crash in December, I think that's the look that you're looking for now. The only way we go higher, like steadily higher into 2025 or more, is if you correct here. A correction here would lead to, oh, we need some kind of bigger move down. Then you see, okay, we move down, down, and then by the end of the month, you're kind of basing out. I just don't think that this looks very good for 2025 if we just, turn down with no signals and then turn back up. So here's the signal that I'm looking for to turn down, and we're hitting that point right now. So this is the first point we need to pay attention for the day. The second time to pay attention is going to be when the SPY gets to its daily expected move. But this is the first point to pay attention. Very, very close attention. So here opening for Lulu. Let's go look at Lulu. Lulu, great freaking move, first of all. You gotta say, great move. 2 hour never confirmed down, that's awesome. Daily just crossed up, and if you're just swing trading, you're going, hey, I'm still in this thing. I don't see 2 hour divergence. I don't even see a 2 hour cross down. So that's all you had there. Now what you're looking for are the little opportunities, right? This, a lot of the time, will need to catch up. So we could move sideways and flag out. We could see a retrace and then move up again. We just probably need to reconnect with all these things coming up. Unless, I mean, but this doesn't mean the bullish move is like over. It's just that's what I'd be waiting for an opportunity. And there's a gap fill above us, you're saying? Oh my goodness. Wow, if you really want to talk cup and handle, oh my goodness, watch out if Lulu does that. Because this does not have divergence on your RSI, you don't have it on the MACD either. So if you get this to pull back in a dramatic fashion and then you curl back up, you can see another positive trend. You might be having a massive move here with that. That is a, I don't even know if you'd count, it's very extended, but that is a major thing to pay attention to right now. Holy crap, is Lulu gonna reload and end up just like going to frickin' 600? That would be crazy. See if that loads up. Simple swing trade would have had you in the move though, pretty nice. Okay, what was I looking at? Qs, 30 minute, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't mind that look at all. I just want to see an opportunity now. DraftKings has the cup and handle too on a monthly. Dear my gosh, that is so wild. I still think something. I don't know. You'd have the rejection now if you just see some. You have to see a solid rejection. Like when I'm talking rejection, I want to see like this. I want to see it I want to see it get down below the 5 by the end of the day. That would be rejection in my mind, right? That would be rejection. That's pretty cool, Anda. It looks like we're okay on everything over here. I'm going to click through a couple other ones real quick on my other charts just to keep an eye on stuff. I really want to keep an eye on Amazon making the move higher, setting another point of divergence outside of a monthly expected move. Amazon is very likely to get a 2 hour pullback or at least 2 hour consolidation. Tesla is starting to give up the move here. Now making potential for rejection divergence, but I think it still has some room there. The 30 minute not looking too weak. Nvidia would be kind of a random drop. That's why I'm like, a lot of stocks look like they could build up to one more move higher, which is just interesting with how the SPY and the Qs look. Meta tried to break through the weekly or the monthly expected move now for Meta and curl up into positive territory. It's curling up now on a negative bar outside of a monthly expected move, really close to the center line. I really think that would want to continue a little bit for Meta. But if it does, getting worried about divergence there. GameStop starting to flush a little bit. DJT catching some love there, almost up 2%. SoFi, yeah, still pulling back. SoFi, we do have weekly expected moves for SoFi, and if you're wondering on SoFi, real quick, you know, I'm just trying to tell you guys this stuff to convince you, like, weekly expected moves are very, very cool. They will help you a lot. If I was short on SoFi with this, manage the trade, I see the lower high and I go, okay, I'm short. Where could that catch a bounce? The weekly expected move. And that's on my Patreon right now. You can see it, and I'm just looking at it on my other screen with a nice line there instead of some drawings and going, wow, that's where I would take some profit, right? Just saying. Now, what would this want to do? Well, it's a key level. Maybe we want to see some kind of consolidation to head down. Also, I'm going to brag today. Maybe we want that retest to the 5 and then curl down. I'm going to go get hot pot and Korean barbecue after 3 o'clock today. Pumped. Absolutely jacked to the T's about it. KRE, yeah, I'll go look on my other charts real quick just so we can keep an eye on the Qs, and then I'll bring it over. KRE we've talked about a little bit this week. We've talked about the fact that it's been coming down for a little bit on that 30-minute. The 2-hour did have some massive divergence, so you have to be open to the daily pulling back further. But we all know that bounces can happen. Lower highs can happen, or reversals in trend can happen. So does the 30-minute have divergence? Well, it had divergence for the first bounce. Okay, so if I pull this over, do this real quick. If I pull this over and I look at KRE, I'm going, okay, it had the 30-minute divergence here. That produced a retest of the 5. If we want to go down for the triple dip, really taper off, right? This is pretty controlled the entire time. We might need one little downward move here to then create that divergence again and then see that upside move. That is a very good likelihood to turn up a 2-hour. The 2-hour you can see really wants to turn up. Is that going to be a lower high? Because we are negative, we have to be open to lower high. And then you can really start to see, okay, this is slanted. I'm kind of connecting them there though, by the way. It's not perfect, rarely ever is. And so if we created a slanted head and shoulders, that would be interesting. I'd just be open to a lower high. I'm not saying it has to be, but I think you would want to pull back a little bit further. So if we get that lower high, we pull back further, we can make a 2-hour divergence and then end up seeing maybe banks catch a bid and see that next daily move to the upside for KRE. Yeah, not a bad look though. I see what you're thinking on the 30-minute, and it could form, it could not, it could just turn up on the 30-minute. Right, so you look for high or low. If that doesn't shape up, then you look for divergence. If neither of those shape up, then you watch out because it's probably going to drop further down. I'm going to connect that over on my other charts real quick. Yeah, you do have a little bit lower to go. I'd say a price point of about 65.88 where that divergence can be set. Why is this still moving? It seems like people are still pretty bullish on these. Volatility trying to turn back up. Okay, Qs look good. SPY coming off a little bit. Nothing crazy to be overly worried about just yet. But these are the things that we want to see happen. The dollar, again, this is what I want you to keep your eye on even after the live stream this morning, guys. Keep your eye on the dollar. It is moving. It is moving and grooving and saying the 2-hour is crossing up. That divergence did hold across. You have a little divergence here for the RSI. You're still far away from the center line, so this can be a 2-hour move that fails, right? It can fail. But if we move enough, if we can really try to go positive here, you might confirm up that 4-hour. That would be a good inclination that you are about to see the next daily move higher for the dollar. Do I think the dollar has topped out? According to my signals here, I don't think so. You did get a lot of points of divergence on the RSI, so it's definitely possible. We can definitely, if we blow that up, you can see for the dollar, that has given you the divergence on the RSI, but it's not on the MACD at the same time. So I want to take that into consideration and just say, hey, if I'm seeing a 4-hour divergence, it is definitely possible to do this, and then we can maybe see the dollar drop off. All right. Now, if that doesn't drop, if that does not curl down with the divergence, then the dollar could be ripping and we might actually see some bad things in the market. So we'll pay attention to it. I'm still leaning towards, volatility getting to 12.12 and seeing some reactions before we actually see something bad happen. I think that's the way, though, that we can leak this into end of December or maybe even mid-January of 2025. I'm still paying attention to that time frame. I'm just like pulling it back a little bit to end of December just in case, because it's a very bullish move. We keep going bullish. I'm worried about it. We've seen the difference between the dollar and the SPY for a long time. Now it's doing the negative correlation things. All right, this is what I want to check on, and then I'm going to get back over to the chat, guys. Give me one moment. All right, let's see if we can get that to pull down on the SPY down to the 20. DJT, if it curls up on the 30-minute and breaks through on a Friday outside of a weekly, ooh, that is crazy stuff. Either you're going to experience a rug pull on Monday, or you might see some kind of squeeze. I think it's worth my risk to reward. Wolf as well. Want to pay attention to that one. Not seeing the best stuff from there. Amazon, still seeing that upside. Getting rid of those divergence for now. Meta's the other one. And Microsoft. Kind of the moment. It might happen in the morning. Kind of close to the 5 there. We just flag out. Oof, Nvidia trying to come back in its weekly expected moves. AMD, are you gonna cross through and see something crazy? What the heck? Google attempting to make the 30-minute move higher now, in a little bit of a rough spot. Sofi, is that all you needed to do to back off? If Sofi can curl up on the 2 hour, you can see another move higher. It's really backing off. Palantir's the one just screaming, and it goes right up towards that monthly expected move. You're getting rid of a lot of the divergence, though, for Palantir. Very good. Very bullish moves if you're getting rid of these divergences, honestly. All right, SPY, we got the Qs here. SPY just kind of lackluster for a moment here. 15 minutes just remaining. Ooh. Because you're not seeing a reaction in volatility before any of this happens. Just the dollar still go. Keep your eye on it. Keep your eye on it. The 2 hour is confirming up on this. We start to take back the 5. Starting to get a little weary out there now. Something's going on with the dollar. What's up? Gotta pull back, bam, gotta pull it back to the 20 EMA. Sound Hound. I don't think this is over. I don't even see 30-minute signals that say this should be over. Do we see 2 hours? No. Do we see dailies? No. So I'd look for 30-minute pullback first. Then you'll probably see another move higher. Then you're going to see a 2 hour pullback. If that happens right now, okay, the 2 hour pulls back, still very bullish whenever that turns up. If the daily wants to curl down and you see something massive to the downside, ooh, that thing can turn way down and then curl back up into positive territory, but everything is pointing in the upward direction for this one. This thing is squeezing. I don't know when that'll end. I'm talking about when the opportunity to actually make a good decision is. It's risky at this point. You are right in saying it is risky at this point. Wolf's starting to move, man. Yeah. At the daily 5 EMA. Yeah, let's go check on GME for you guys real quick. Looking at the 30-minute, right? First thing we want to see is that 5. Can we keep the 5? That's the big deal, right? This is not bad. This is the weirdest probably cup and handle that you'll see in a long time, but it is a good place to do, if you even want to call it a cup and handle, right? But it is a good place to do this, right? Reload, retest that 5, then see the move. It is a good place. You would just hope this is happening kind of on like Thursday, then you break through and you see this close up here on Friday. If you can close above 33.28 on a Friday, that would be fantastic. For AMC, a close above 450 is good. Obviously, above 5 would be great. Above 550 would be insane. Insane. I feel like he might have bailed. He might have just bailed out Goldman Sachs for a little while, or at least gave them some kind of bailout there, which just makes me disappointed. It makes me feel like Adam Aaron is in bed with some of these guys. But we'll see. Depends on if it took care of the debt or not. HIMS, yeah, we've looked at HIMS before. I think we looked at it a little this week. If you really just look, you're going, okay, the 2 hours pulling back, the 2 hours pulling back, 2 hours pulling back. That could still be pulling back. What I want to look for is just anytime that 2 hour curls up, right? Now you're losing the 5, so that can be more retracey, right? It can retrace, it can go test some support levels now. It can come down to here. $30 looks pretty good. Then maybe you see that turn back up. You're not seeing any 2 hour signals that say this is like over. You're just seeing a lot of divergence on the RSI, not the MACD at the same time, which means reversal can happen, but it is more probable for the 2 hour to turn up into positive territory. He has to play both sides. They both benefit from it. And that's what I would agree with. I'm like, I get it. Like, I understand. You got to do what's right for the business. And if you get an opportunity and you can do it without hitting 566, I think that's fine. But I'm just like, doesn't the other company still have that option? So do you have one more kind of dilution in the cards already, or is that already priced in? That's the thing I kind of wonder after hearing about this one. It would be a great, what I'm saying is he needs to announce now, hey, we are paying back the debt. Right. Hey, the reason for this dilution was we are repaying the debt now because we've had good weeks. We've caught some revenue. We've saved up. We've done this. We needed that. That would be something good. But if we don't see that, it looks really fishy. That's all I'm going to say. I still believe in the problem. So I'm not going to move differently at this point. I might move differently for the next couple of weeks. But other than that, I'll be looking for, are the signals good? Right now, the signals are not good for AMC, right? The 30-minute is turned down, and it's the first turn down on a big move. You're below the center line for the RSI. The 2 hour is down with divergence. So that tells me a daily pullback can come. Well, this is what I'm saying. It might change my theory for the next couple of weeks. Originally, it's like, hey, it's going to happen next week. Now it's like it still can, right? It can happen at any time. But now it's really leaning towards a daily pullback to retest some levels, a daily pullback to turn back up into positive territory. That is the most probable thing here. Obviously, MOAS is not going to be the most probable thing. That will be unexpected. So am I going to take all of my positions, all of my shares, and sell all of it? No, that's just silly. Apple really moving sideways. Looking like, hey, it caught up to the 5. Apple might get that next move higher. We'll see. Maybe Apple's the one that pushes the Qs a little bit higher, gets the SPY to that daily expected move. Gonna put this on the Qs still. AMC is hurting. It is. It's slowing down the timeline. It is slowing down the timeline. You're not speeding it up. But we should expect it. You got to do what's right for the company, as long as he's not pocketing it, which he does pocket a lot. So I don't think he pockets a lot out of these deals. I'm just saying he pays himself handsomely, which is fine if he can make the company good. That's fine. How close do you think we are to a correction? It really depends. If you correct, like I said, remember I said by the end of this week, going into next week, if we start to correct, we can go higher into January and have potential to keep those little corrections happening and continue this all the way until March or even October of 2025. But if we just get some kind of little 2% pullback back down to the 20 and then we go higher in December, December looks like we could have a major top. That's just how I see it. So it really depends on how December plays out. So what I would say, Pablo, is really ask me towards the end of this month. Like, put a note on your computer right now, ask me towards the end of this month, and I think the answer will be a little bit more clear on what is the most probable thing to happen going straight into 2025 or the end of December. Oil, USO. Oh yeah, I'm down to look at USO. Oh, that's a bad move. A bad move, kind of a wonky look there, maybe even head and shoulder. Now, something we were pointing out for USO and for oil in general was the fact that it's trying to really consolidate. You notice it's getting really tight. We're about to see a massive move from this in some direction. At this point, we said, hey, the 30-minute does have divergence down here. So you're probably going to see a reaction to the top of the trend. If you can break through, that can be good. But look at the daily curling down today. That is not a good sign. This is not what I want to see if I'm bullish on oil. So something we can do is look at US oil, like we can look at this and see what is really shaping up here, because these lows are coming in a little bit tighter. And we notice that we had a head and shoulders. Does that look like that's playing out? Right now it does. So be very, very cautious. But if that whips back around, now you're really tight. You got the flash move maybe to take out some stops, and then you end up curling up into positive territory. Do we have 2-hour divergence though? No, we do not. So this would just be, if the daily curls up, it would be a risky one. But you're saying, hey, there's a lot of divergence here with all of these lows coming in, and it looks like oil's about to get a reaction. That's what I would see what happens. Let's look at the dollar again because someone's mentioning it, and kaboom, we're starting to head up from our 105.65. You guys think I just make random lines on my charts? No, we pay attention to where reactions can happen. And we notice that the 2-hour here is curling up. We notice that the 4-hour is what we're really looking for that confirmation. We could get this confirmation by the end of the day. You see how close that is? If that keeps moving, we could get that to confirm by the end of the day. That would say the dollar is back to going positive, maybe even on the daily scale. Daily. Yeah, Robert, I hope that was helpful. It's definitely a speculative one. You don't have the shorter time frames to really help you out. But the daily scale, if that just swings up, hey, you got a shot, manage risk. You know, manage the trade. And then if you see, hey, oh, the daily curled up for 1 day and the 2-hour starts to curl down, isn't that bad for the trade? So wouldn't you say, okay, let me see what this 2-hour wants to do, if it wants to flag out, if it wants to pull down to really fake people out, or if it just wants to drop, I'll be out of the risk. And then if that 2-hour can just curl back up, I'd be like, okay, cool. You can buy UUP, NF if you're still in here. The dollar and volatility, sorry, I just looked up at the top of the screen real quick and I noticed NF. The dollar, UUP, so if we go look at this, UUP, these are opportunities to be had. And you'll notice that it's not on the 4 because this is going to be during market hours, but you're going to notice the 2. The 2-hour is going to be very important here. So if you want to see if it's coming back in, hey, you don't see it here on the MACD and RSI, but what did we just show you? We showed you DXY. We showed you DXY. and that has it on both. So now you can see, oh, that is plainly on the RSI. If this 2 hour can rotate up, oil might, or sorry, the dollar might be in that daily trend up. Did we have daily reversal signals that say the dollar is going to plummet? Well, let's load up for a second and see. No, you don't. You just see the RSI that says, hey, that could happen, but it is more likely to be a solid pullback and then curl back up into positive territory. I'm going to do one more thing for UUP real quick. Bollinger Bands. Notice what we do. We top Bollinger, we don't go to the 20. So then we go to the top Bollinger again, and then we see that go down to the 20. You're at the 20 now. Now you have room to go higher. So if this daily can confirm up, that would be a sign of, hey, the dollar is going to scale up. And we just mentioned how the market was in the positive correlation with the dollar. It's gotten rid of that recently. So be open to, if the dollar does confirm up on a 2 hour, UUP in this case, be open to that coming in with some steam, and then be open to managing risk, right? Being wrong, be open to it. Because look at the dollar right now. It's starting to drift back down. We have not gotten that confirmation. We don't have 2 hour signals like we did here to tell you that 4 hours is going to bounce, right? We don't have those 2 hour signals like this. You could go make those, and then we really see the 4 hour turn up. Yeah, let's go pop over to a few real quick, and then I'm going to go back over to the market. So for NVIDIA, if this drops here, first of all, lower high was the most probable thing. Do we see weakness that says this is most likely to be a lower high? No, you don't. You actually more so see a 30-minute that's getting closer and closer to reacting over to what? The 5-day moving average, and that can just curl up into positive territory, and you see the next move higher. All right, we don't see that on the 30-minute. We don't see that on the 30-minute for the MACD. You just see it on the RSI, which can turn it down. So I want to be very aware if this 2 hour turns down, but I want to be aware that we didn't have divergence up here on the 30-minute. We didn't have the weakness and momentum on both indicators. So if that wants to retest an important level, where do you think that is? Well, it's 141.12. Maybe I have a weekly expected move here next week, and then we turn back up into positive territory, right? That's what I'd really be paying attention here. But the likelihood of a lower high is there. It's just you kind of have contradicting things where it's like the most likely thing to happen is a lower high, but I'm not seeing the most likely signals that I need to see for that to be a lower high just yet. So I want to pay attention to what needs to happen for this to get bullish over time. That's what probably needs to happen for this to keep getting bullish and bullish and bullish. The other one that someone mentioned was Google. Yeah, let's go look at Google. This one, very interesting. The 30-minute trying to make that next curl up. Notice we do not have reversal signals at all here for Google. So something very likely is a trap to be set, or the trap not even be there, right? So I have to pay attention to both. Right now, I would really say, let's look at the 2 hours. That thing cooked. Ooh, not really that cooked. So this doesn't have to be some kind of big reversal here. We could do another 1, 2, 3 before that actually wants to reverse. And then from there, we could see consolidation to head higher. We always want to think we can remain bullish for a long time. This market can remain very irrational for longer than you have the account for. Someone's saying Meta screaming. I want to check on that because Meta had the good news. So Meta with the 30-minute turning higher, this looks really bullish, doesn't it? It looks really freaking bullish. And it is, right? We react to the 5, we curl back up. That's exactly what we're looking for. This could be a whole new trend. But if this is a trap, then you're going to probably see that fade by the end of the day. You're going to see something like this happen, and then you have a divergence really close to the center line now. This is why we were paying attention to the next move higher for Meta. Is Meta hitting a daily expected move as well? That will help us out. Meta is currently seeing the craziness. Let's just put it that way. So Meta is experiencing a crazy thing for the week. Meta is experiencing a crazy thing for the month. And Meta is now experiencing a crazy thing for the day. So the likelihood that you drop from here is 68% on 1, 68% on 2, 68% on 3. The likelihood that Meta ends up at the end of the month lower than this price point at the close of the month is much higher than it is to go up. But do you see in the signals a setup to actually take it? I don't want to take something based on my speculation, based on just a percentage that I know. I want to see it confirmed in my signals. A confirmation right now of a 2-hour pullback, not even a 2-hour absolute drop. You do have a blip, so you could consider it. But if that's, no, that actually happened with a solid 2-hour bar right here, didn't it? Right there, Thursday, there you go. So it did happen. So you can pay attention to if the daily is going to roll around, but it's likely to see the 30-minute really drop off, then see the 2-hour make another move higher. If we get that kind of look across the board on a lot of stocks, that would be worrisome. But I would just be a little bit cautious with Meta now in this area. You are seeing the craziness of the crazy on the 6th of December. Does not mean it has to stop. It means pay attention if you see weakness, because this is where you want to be paying attention for that weakness. You know what I mean? This is when something bad can happen. This is when people get absolutely trapped. They take out the stops. Calls start to come in like wild. And then it drops down. People like to make the exact opposite decision. That's why it really bugs me on Twitter right now. I was reading through, I like to look through the GME hashtag. And I'm seeing a lot of people say like, well, let's go look at Bitcoin. I'm saying a lot of people be like, now imagine if Ryan Cohen bought Bitcoin. I'm actually seeing that everywhere on Twitter. And I'm just like, that would be the stupidest thing ever to start acquiring Bitcoin at 99K or over 100K. All right, because this is most likely where something bad can happen. Right, if we see a look like that, that's where something bad can happen. So this is not the time the time to acquire is down at lower levels, right? Buy low, sell high. It would be the opposite now. I'm not saying Bitcoin has to stop. I can see some kind of major run. That's fine. I'm just saying the smart opportunity would be, hey, if this daily curls up, then that can start to go up dramatically. Yeah, but if I see that turn back down, now I have daily divergence. And if you're one of the best investors of our time, are you acquiring Bitcoin at 100K, or are you probably acquiring Bitcoin at 60K throughout this whole pullback? That consolidation. Well, you're probably waiting, and then you see like this makes more sense in here. On the weekly, this is going to make more sense in here. This makes a lot of sense. Now, what are you noticing? Weekly divergence. So do you think something bad might happen to Bitcoin? It could. Sorry to rain on your parade, but I'm just paying attention to the signal. If this confirms, if this is some kind of massive trap and it confirms, that's bad. I still think Bitcoin has the opportunity to hold up better. But I'm just going to pay attention to the signals, and I have to be honest about them. And if this daily goes like that, I highly doubt any good investor will be buying Bitcoin here, especially if it starts to shift down after hitting like 10. I think it was what, 106 was what I was leaning towards. And look at the flash crash where like $450 million came out of Bitcoin in like an hour. And then you're wondering, why is that happening? Well, it happens to happen. Right when AMC, GME, and all these little guys start to pop as well. So I think it's used as a liquidity a lot of the time for markets. That's just my opinion, though. All right, Qs reacting directly up to a daily expected move and struggling. And for your awareness, UVXY seeing a little uptick actually in some call volume. And Meta starting to drop off a little bit there. We'll see what happens with Meta throughout. I'll be keeping that up on my other screen. SPY hasn't confirmed the move to the weekly or daily expected move just yet, mainly the weekly. GME hasn't curled down on the 30-minute, but once it does, that's when you want to be paying attention. The dollar still on the up move. Excuse me. Oh, let me take these off because I don't like them on short. Actually, I'll just do this. Ticks. I don't know what ticks is, but I'm like, ticks? I don't want a tick. God, I love seeing, like, when Roaring Kitty posts, one of my favorite things to see. One of my favorite things to see is everyone trying to decipher it. I think it's great. That's so funny. Play the market. Okay, good. It's good to see people actually giving the right take, I think, on AMC, which is pretty much what we've talked about. I think that's the correct one. It's just understanding it's a business first. Well, Kalani, that might be happening, because if enough people have the same play as you and they're retail, then yeah, you can see that stuff. I'm putting tens of millions into BTC at these prices. It's not worth getting into. It just depends. I would more so say big players would rather take profits at like over 100K, and then big players would hop back in after you see it retest some key levels, maybe get back down to, I don't know, let's look at Bitcoin actually. Let's look for a good level if this is going. Now we're talking in the future. Obviously, this thing can pop off, right? The daily turns up, positivity's there. It could not make any divergences. It could never turn around, and it could go to 250K, right? My target for it overall was 128, 129K. So I'm not necessarily like super bearish or anything like that. I'm just saying, wouldn't it like to retest a key level before it goes higher? Wouldn't you like to accumulate some Bitcoin at 74K and then you see the next move higher? That's all I'm thinking. Yeah, 74K looks pretty damn good. I've liked that level for like a week now. I was hoping this pullback would flash move down to about 87.3. Then you would see the next turn up. La 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 la. You played the unit card. What do you decipher it as? What do I decipher it as? I decipher it as I think the moment is getting closer and closer, and that's all I'm going to read into. I think the moment is getting closer and closer. I think you have high potential that it's in the next 2 months. If it's not going to be, then we're not going to see it proven in the signals. So what do we need to happen for it to happen next week? You need the 30-minute to go positive. Right now you have a 2-hour and a 30-minute both turning down. You only have a daily positive, which is a good sign. We're going back to the 20. Like, I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying the signals aren't proving it. Am I going to take money out of it at this point? Not necessarily. I'm going to maybe acquire more if we get a daily pullback and then be open to the moment in the next 2 months. More open than in the past. Let's put it that way. FFIE, yeah. People have brought this up before. I'll go check on it real quick. Oh, okay. 30-minute divergence at the low, curling up the 2-hour. What's the 2-hour look like? 2-hour divergence for FFIE. This thing might run. FFIE might run. I might take a chance with it for fun. Let's pull open the fun account. Let's pull it open. Screw it. I needed a fun play, you know what I mean? Oh, let me check on the short sale volume for this guy. Also, let's look at a weekly. Ah, yeah, right by the center line. Okay. All right, let me check on the short sale volume for that. Needed a fun play. I got in today. It was crazy back in May. I kind of like the look. 30-minute divergence, 2-hour divergence. You're already in profit if you just followed, you know, what we do on this channel. If you just followed momentum, you're in. I mean, shit. I mean, let me go look at the 30-minute divergence. Technically, the 30-minute divergence would have completed right here. If you were confident with it and you held it 107, you're already up like 20%. Great stuff. I like it. Now, that's very speculative. That's why I'm using the fun account for it. But I do want to go check on my... Oh, dollar kind of ripping, guys. I do want to check on the short sale volume. See if my theory has anything to say here. Ooh, it might. Ooh, it might. Hold on. Yeah, it's... I mean, let me check this. I mean, the short sale theory would say, hey, yeah, it's rejecting here. Yeah, I think you have a recipe for success for FFIE. Obviously, anything can happen with those type of plays, but we'll see. Might just do a little 2-week option on that bad boy, see what happens. Yeah, we'll see. That'd be dope. Just make a little profit there, that'd be sick. And then see AMC drop, buy a little more with some FFIE money. I'm down like a clown. Brown down. All right, dollar is what I wanted to look at. Up 0.34 now. We are paying attention to the dollar. Pay attention to the dollar. I'm gonna keep saying it all morning. You know, I'm about to get off stream in 15 minutes, so I'm watching this for a little bit more time with you. We could reject off the 5, and it might not be it. The 4-hour confirmation is what I'm looking for. You got 16 minutes before the next bar. The next bar for 4 hours, I would keep my eye on this guy. I'll probably be working from home all day today now and just chilling, watching stuff, seeing what's going to take place. We might have to push off my my content acquisition days. Might have to push that off until the weekend now. So maybe I'll pay attention to stocks. Maybe I'll come back live by the end of the day if we start seeing crazy stuff. DJT! Well, DJ Tizzle. The shizzle dizzle. DJ Tizzle. You know what I'm saying? Coffee Money, thanks for entertaining my morning. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Justin. And thank you so much for 250. Really appreciate it. And you guys make it fun for me too. So getting me some coffee money so I can be well awake and ready and caffeinated to at least show some interesting things in the market and show how it's behaving. Thank you for bringing up FFIE, guys. That was really fun. But thank you so much for the 250. Now we just have to get... since Jackal donated to that 199, we just got to get Jackal's, what, your wife or something? We got to get her to start calling you Jackal. Market can turn red fast. Yes, when the dollar is climbing like that, it can. Unless we're going to see us go back into a positive correlation, unless we're going to see the dollar reject here. You have confirmed that little 30 minutes saying, hey, the 2 hour is going to curl up. I don't like 30 minutes for these ones. But I do respect the 2 hour, and I respect the fact that the last time we saw that 4 hour turn up, what did we need? We needed divergence. So I will be open to, now this is not, we did not get big reactions here, right? We didn't get this kind of bar. We got that over here. You notice when we got it over here. So that could just reverse up with no divergence, just on the RSI down here, very, very slim. But I'm aware that we can do something like that, this right here, before we actually see that reaction. That's how we buy a little bit more time. If we buy time again in this market, I'm so scared for December, it's not even funny. What's the look on NVIDIA? Yeah, head and shoulders would be the obvious one. It's very obvious though, and you don't see 30-minute divergence there. So we talked about that a lot, but the main thing is we're not seeing 30-minute divergences on NVIDIA that say it has to drop, but if that 2 hour confirms down, still in the move down, we were saying at that low, which we had a move for, which we kind of thought that low was going to hold with that 30-minute divergence, right? Well, that was good to pay attention to, but it's very deep. So the 2 hour is very likely to make a lower high. That would be the Head and Shoulders setup. Is it being fought right now? Yes. Yesterday, you actually saw, you've seen the short sale volume increasing for the whole week, but yesterday you saw a boom. Which means they are about to fight the crap out of the stock, and they're doing it right before earnings. But did they accidentally use some liquidity from earnings or for earnings for this big move that they weren't fully expecting from AMC? Actually, AMC was about to do something crazy, guys. That's why I don't think you understand the timing of that dilution actually was like a savior to short sellers. It was a savior. It was. I'm not saying it's bad for the business. It's the right move for the business most likely. But I'm just saying this time, usually I'm very lenient on dilution. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. This time I was like, oh God, you literally stopped the squeeze this time. Like you did. You were gonna have AMC close above $5 yesterday, like with today's price action. They need to buy Bitcoin. Listen, if anything with Ryan Cohen himself personally, because I believe they had to file that if they bought Bitcoin, because earnings is coming up, they'd most likely have to file that before earnings. So you probably would have heard about it already if it was with GME money, but Ryan Cohen might have already done his Bitcoin investment. He's a very smart investor. GME curling and SPY curling down. Volatility not getting too much of a bounce there. We'll look for that higher low. And let's check on these guys. GME, what do you need? You need the 30 minutes to remain positive. You need the 2 hour to be positive. Ooh, it's curled up, but it's not in positive territory. You're almost there. You need the daily to be positive. So you have the 2 hour and the daily working against you, while AMC has the daily with it, but it has the 30 minute and the 2 hour working against it. So that's just interesting. What was the other one someone brought up? Yeah, I think so. I think 5-star, I think you do have a reason to say that, and that's why we keep pointing out the dollar. Now, we're still waiting to see if this can take back the 5, but just know the dollar has a serious amount of weakness as of this RSI. Right now, it's not on the MACD, right? We need to see that cross, but the RSI is telling you there is some major weakness here for a 4 hour divergence. Positive divergence at that, right? Positive divergence down here for DXY. That should really tell you something if that can cross up. Yeah, I'll go check on Pfizer, one of my most hated stocks. I will go check on that. Lower high. 2 hour higher low, sorry, lower high. 2 hour higher low. Reacting to a key level where that gap took place, a little bit above it, and then you see some consolidation. You're curling up into positive territory. You did it at the end of the day yesterday, so you want to see this bar as good, and then you can start to head up, and you might end up seeing this daily catch some more ground. If that 2 hour does not, it fails, rotates back down, just be aware that that could be a bad thing. We can kind of see in the micro here too how it might want to do some things. We can probably figure that out. But it just tells me, hey, the daily has room to go up if this 2 hour can take back the 5 and give a good positive bar here. Inverse hammer right now. Okay, could that cup and giant handle? Oh God, let's look. Is there? I wouldn't, I guess you could argue for consolidation to head lower. I don't necessarily see a great cup and handle, but we are using that level again as support. That's interesting. I want to look at this a little bit bigger. I want to look on the weekly scale. Do we have divergence on the weekly? You do. So if we have the weekly turn up at some point, that would say this might be a good investment for a while. Why would Pfizer turn up on the monthly? Are we about to experience COVID 2.0? Oh no, now my video is going to be flagged. Shouldn't have said that. I'm just saying, this thing's been beat up. You have potential for monthly double buy. You have potential for a weekly divergence here. This might be a good investment. If the weekly turns up, that might be an investment. Wolf on the 30 minute looking legit. 5.48% there. Very, very nice. Pretty good. Hey, today I am richer than yesterday. Tina, we love it. Yeah, Justin, I think more I'd look at this from an investment perspective. You're just seeing straight downward, but I would look investment perspective here. See if we can find an example. Yeah, see this? See on the weekly? You see the divergence here? What's the date here? March of 09. See how we're talking investment, right? Where's 09? No, that's 95. March of 09, look at this. Ever since that point, wouldn't that be considered a decent investment? You never curled back down on the monthly, and it just kept going. And it just kept going. And it's just, oh, curl down on the monthly, curl back up, keep going. Keep going. So, yeah, not bad. Just a little risky with the new administration coming in with Pfizer and all the vaccines and all that kind of stuff. All right, trying to confirm up on a negative bar right now. AMD, very interested to see what AMD does. I'm interested if this had suppression in it, to be genuine. I'm interested to see if they were pushing AMD down, using that and forcing NVIDIA higher, mainly making AMD look like a terrible thing and making NVIDIA look even better. I'm wondering about that because AMD had some great potential for a long time. Right now, we were leaning towards that 30-minute divergence, leading towards a 2-hour pullback to maybe retest some key levels in here, maybe around 138 to 140. We haven't fully gotten there yet, but we're pretty much there. So we'll see if this can turn back up. I just want to see if this 30-minute can turn up into positive territory after hitting the 5-day moving average. This is great. I mean, it's still good. Right, that's still pretty good behavior, right? You're reacting to the 5, start the next trend upward. Meta, I want to pay attention to that coming off. This looks like the riskiest one as of right now, even though it's great moves higher. It looks like the riskiest one to me. NVIDIA starting to drop off. We got to pay attention if the 2-hour does cross and if we can lose now 140, 112 and the 5-day moving average. If you can hold up here, you got some room to the upside, then I'd watch out for this level. And if you can create structure to actually head higher for NVIDIA, that would be cool. Looks like we got DJT turning up, Wolf turning up by 5.16%, and we have Mara turning up by 5.8. Remember this about Mara, the 2-hour confirmation. Man, are you going to see like squeezes a lot next week? Like Mara? Because like the thing about Mara is Mara should definitely be tracking Bitcoin, but you notice it's just terrible and known to have a short seller problem. Very interesting. Had a good trade at the open. Think it's smart to call it. Hey, I like it, Georgie. I like it. You're like, I want to have a good weekend. Why stress myself out? Why stress myself out? You know, that's a very true thing that a lot of traders do. I used to take so many trades that stressed me out over the weekend. And I just stopped doing that. My life instantly got so much better. I was just like, oh my God, I can enjoy my weekend without worrying and then just like make my ranges on Sunday and look at stocks and be like, what opportunity am I looking for? Write it in my little trading booklet and be like, this is what I'm looking for on this stock and here's a couple other options. It was awesome. So 2-hour confirmation would be great here and you're going back into our buy zone twice. Twice. Very, very good. We'll see if that can confirm up. Is it a dead trade? I would never say it's a dead trade. Now, if you're talking about an option trade, like for now, the signals would say, yeah, that's not good for if you're taking calls. This is bad if you're taking calls. Just genuine, that's what it is, right? Now, something we might want to do with this, because it saw crazy price action in the pre-market, is we might want to include that and say, okay, what's happening now, though? And look at that, 437. I wonder, did this go to the weekly expected move, like right on it? Wait, let me add, oh my God. Okay, the low of this bar is directly on the weekly expected move, 440. So during this week for AMC, you're in the middle, you hit the top one, which it was a big expected move. It was over 10%. Then you flush that all the way back down to the bottom side weekly expected move, and you perfectly touch it. Perfectly. Look at the L. Low, 40, 440. Low, 440. That is right where that weekly expected move was for this week. It's 440, right on the dot. Is it a dead trade? Depends on if you have options or not. If you're not doing options in it, it's probably never going to be a dead trade for you. And if it is a dead trade for you and you're not doing options, then I don't think you fully understand what's going on here. If it is options, then yes, this would say, hey, I'm dead for the time being. It would say this is a very bad signal. But why are we seeing this major wick here? You know, why are we seeing the 30-minute look like, hey, I'm real beat up and I might get a bounce here? Why, if we do this, is the 30-minute still positive? If that 30-minute just does this, you might be back on, right? We want to be reacting. Now, am I going to add positions here? Am I going to add option stuff here, or am I going to trim option stuff here? I'm more likely to trim a little bit than to take more. If I wanted to trade as in without options, then I could say, hey, what level do I want to buy at? Well, is it anything below $5 for this type of trade? Maybe I would add more on the buying of the stock. But it's not dead. No, your daily is still, even if the daily crossed, it's not dead. Even if you saw this go to 437 and hold down there, it's still not going to be dead. It's going to be in positive territory, and all you have to do is see a good curl up, and you have the next move higher. And congrats, you got flushed out right before the big move, right? Now, I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. I'm just telling you how it is. You got to do what you got to do. It's your money, and maybe you need it now. No, it's your stuff. I want you to treat it that way, be accountable for your trades, and just say, hey, an option might not be good right now, but if I'm holding the stock in any way, I can accumulate below $5 because I see they really don't want to hold it above $5, obviously. So if we're able to hold above $5, maybe that causes problems. Maybe a big thing happens. Yeah. It's more of like AMC and GME are more a good thing on the investment side, I would say. And less of and more when you're doing options, it's like, hey, I got to do this quick, right? It's quick. Did it happen? No. Out. Bad signal. Okay. Turn back up. All right. Back in. Oh, it turned down. Back out, right? It's very quick. But I just have an option I hold for the whole month, every single month. I just trade in the market. I use their money. I make a little bit and I go, okay, I'm going to use their money to take an option for the month because it's usually really, really cheap. It's like 3 cents a contract or something. After Roaring Kitty's gone for good. Kitty just came back yesterday. Sava? Yeah, Kitty came back yesterday. Oh. Oh, Sava. You son of a bee. Oh, I thought you said a major, wait. Sava bouncing big? Bro, this thing just dropped big. I mean, you can retrace at some point, but this thing just dropped huge. Now you can see snap reactions. Look at the Bollinger Bands, right? You can see snap reactions, but you have nothing down here to give you. Here you had a hint. Here you had 2-hour divergence. Boom. Right? Everything we pay attention to, it's still like random stock. Didn't look at this before. Look at this. 2-hour divergence. Boom. Yeah, I'm not, and I think you'd assume if people want to buy at these prices, you're gonna get it's just, this is a major move down, man. There's no real technicals that say this is going to be a good thing. If anything, if you're just looking at something, you're like, hey, I want something small that's gonna see something big. It's potential if you know about the problem. Once again, in all these ones, if you know there's some kind of problem in them, if Sava has the problem, I don't even know if it does, but if it does, you can go, okay, cool. Maybe I'm going to hold that for the long term and accumulate at certain levels, right? And then maybe you'll catch one of these. But you can also just say, hey, why don't I wait for a 2-hour divergence and play my fun account? That's kind of how I see it. 30-minute, let's go check in on the market real quick. I'm going to click over and look. Dollar still at 0.25, so nothing has increased there from the dollar. Keep an eye on Meta. Now it's starting to hold up. That's good. We just want to see if that crosses, right? This is good. It's just if it crosses, it's bad. If it loses the 5, it's bad. It's still good. Okay, and then I'm gonna go click over on the keys. I gotta check on something real quick here. That's a stinker if I've ever seen. When you were spouting out Sava, I was expecting to see like a huge gap up, and I saw the opposite, and my brain just like farted so hard. I was just like about to be like, okay, I need to wait. I need to probably talk about, hey, if this is seeing a major move up, we need to look at that 30-minute to pull back for an opportunity. I don't just want to jump in. And then my brain just goes, nope. Not to hate on your trade by any means. Like, if that is one that you truly believe in, if you know more about it than I do, I'm just here talking about technicals. That has nothing in technicals telling me, hey, that needs a big bounce. Besides, like, hey, this is a big move. It could get a retracement. When a stock drops from $30 to $3, don't trade it, please. Very difficult. Exactly. Well, it's like, hey, don't trade it. Maybe I want to invest. It just depends. Sounds making you some good stuff. Good, Sid. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. Oh, wait. I need to check on something real quick. 2 seconds Turkish. 2 seconds Turkish. This one. Oh my god. This thing is just, ugh. So hard to freaking. Sorry, we were listening to some of our Spanish cartoons this morning. I don't know how to speak Spanish at all. You can imagine how that is for me. Mara now 7.34%. 2 hour looking pretty juicy now. Keep your eye on Mara. They're gonna fight AMC and GME. Remember, if you watched last night's YouTube video, towards the end, we were talking about if they're seriously gonna fight AMC and GME, don't sleep on things like DJT, Wolf, Mara, anything like that. If these things just confirm up, they can lose track of these. It's very hard to fight all of these at the same time. This problem goes across many, many stocks. That's how I caught the move with Wolf. That plus some other things. Actually, let's look at Mara's short sale. Let's see if they're about to fight this thing. Are they about to fight this thing? They already are. They already are. They're still doing it. It peaked, it couldn't drop, and now it looks like they're about to fight it again as of yesterday. Let's look at DJTs. I feel like this one might have dropped off. It did drop off. Okay, so we haven't gotten a confirmation there yet. You technically haven't gotten the confirmation from Mara or DJT just yet. It's one that's lower. FFIE, you're getting the confirmation, so that's interesting. But it's really low. That's what's freaky about it. Ooh. All right, dollar, you gonna do it? Now we have a whole new 4-hour bar. So now we're gonna see, can this thing pop up? And yeah, I'm staying live just a little bit longer. It's freaking Friday. I thought I was muted for a sec. That would have sucked, because I've been talking a lot. Peppa. NVIDIA still paying attention if this 30-minute wants to rotate up at any time. Look how it's still positive. There's no reversal signal here, so be aware of it. It doesn't have to reverse. I just want to see how it reacts off of the 5 or 141.12 to see if we get that 30 minutes to curl up to create that weakness in momentum to trap people. That's what I want to look for. If this is already done, then the 2 hour could cross here, and then we want to see if that's losing those levels and that 30 minutes not whipping back up. If that 2 hour crosses, where are you probably going to end up? Well, you're probably going to end up back down to here, right? If that 2 hour can cross and you keep that going, that 30 minutes not able to whip back up, very likely to go to gap fill if you want to end up going higher, but very likely to come test these lows again. And then you can start to be like, oh God, if we do this, that's going to be a problem. Actually, we can connect some highs here for fun. Let's connect some highs. One would be here. One would be there for the breakout to the upside. I'm going to delete this real quick. We got to change this to the blue so we know what we're looking at. And then one would be like this. Right, we're going to keep these two lines just to keep an eye on them. Right, because this is a good enough move that if you dip down, you could already have that head and shoulders in place, very slanted. Hey, nice job how the turn has tabled. Yeah, 30-minute going down to that 5-day moving average, and you're paying attention to risk, and you might even be paying attention to a weekly or a daily expected move. Is NVIDIA by the daily expected move? I would just say pay attention to that 5-day moving average. That's where we're possibly going to see a bounce. We do notice volatility dropping off, so the craziness can continue, especially if volatility curls down on a 2-hour chart. We can see a curl down, maybe head towards 12.12, and people can start to get a little bit greedy. And notice this, VIX 9-day plummeting. Plummeting. I don't think the data was good today. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised people are reading into this as bullish. Let me see if I can see some. Okay, well, the political stuff in news for finance is just awful. Equity futures. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so there's no actual reports on the data. Like, I want to see someone actually reporting on like, hey, how are you reading into the data? Because I'm reading into it and I'm going, I don't like it. I think it looks bad. I think the data doesn't look good, but we're going up. So, you know, market does what the market wants to do. Now we're looking for that trap to the upside because I don't think that data was very good, but hey, is what it is. Is what it is. I just want to see if this thing turns back down. Aren't you glad you have daily expected moves? If so, leave a like for your boy over here, okay? And thank you guys for being understanding, everyone talking. You know, I wasn't able to put out all the YouTube videos, some things happening in my IRL. And I really appreciate that you guys are very understanding and you still come back and you give some good energy. I love to see it. SPY rejecting, 20 minutes left. DIA rejecting. Yeah. Is that going to curl? That daily is so close to crossing. You just have flat divergence for DIA. Still leaning towards where? Maybe that 20? Yes, at the 20 in the center here. This is this blue line. The 20 in the center here of the Bollinger Bands is what you're seeing right there. Very interested to see what happens with that next week. We get more data next week. More data, yay. We love data. Bug, yeah. The 2 hour for the 10-year. I just wanted to bring this to your attention real quick. We do see that divergence holding on the 10-year, so watch out for TLT. In case this does see a reaction, you have the 4-hour divergence as well. So you're noticing now, remember when we said the thing about the lie? The lie becoming the truth. Well, you saw this come down. You saw the market react up. You saw the dollar come down. You saw the market react up. That switched. Now you're experiencing the truth. So if the truth is that this is going to turn up and the dollar is going to turn up, notice you're seeing a similar signal on both. might mean we could go through some trouble in the market. Do I think it's going to be some kind of plummet? Depends on why. I'm more leaning towards a more bullish, higher prices. After we pull back maybe for a test of that 20, we'll see what happens. All we need to know is, hey, the market might drop here in some way, and then we need to look for the opportunity before or after. Yeah, there you go. So TLT, we're going to look at this, and we're most likely going to start to see some stuff shaping up here. We see a 2-hour rejection divergence. You're going to get 30-minute all the way across, and you're holding it. So this could be a little bit worrisome for TLT in the near term. I think you do maybe see a retest of 93. You've already retested that, so that is interesting. It's pretty much saying like really scared of inflation with that type of look. 30-minute, that's the Qs. I want the SPY over here. This is the Qs, got the SPY. Volatility just not reacting to this this little push down. Volatility not really reacting. Not even 9-day volatility. Let's see if VVIX is reacting. VVIX is reacting. Okay, so VVIX is reacting, which just means we need to be aware that volatility can come back in. You have a bunch of divergence down at these lows. You have 2-hour that's curled up. You have 2-hour divergence that has confirmed here, which means the daily might confirm up here. You do have divergence on your MACD, or on your RSI, sorry. We want to see if that's on the MACD slightly up for the MACD. So VVIX might be about to get a pop here, and that's a daily divergence. So we should be open to some kind of move down, maybe even a bigger move down. Just want to show you guys. Oof. Oof. Let's see if this can confirm back down. That would be the best thing to see. That would be the best hint. And let's go check on our buddy Meta. Yeah, it's still holding up pretty well. Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft's starting to come back in. We'll see. Microsoft here, 68% chance to go below this. Still not the best 30-minute signals though, but you have made that divergence more significant on the RSI with that move. You've actually made it here. On the MACD, it is there. It's just you have a lot of room here, so just be open to retest and go higher, but for the most part, how the market's shaping up, I think you're more likely to see this, you know, revert back down, test that 20, come back into the buy zone. I'm going to stretch that out. That's been a great zone for us. Yeah, that's been a really good zone to us. NVIDIA, we notice now down 2.2%, sorry, 2%, going directly down towards the 5. So now's where we want to pay attention to the 30-minute. We want to see if it catches a bounce. That's a little bit more dramatic, though. That's not consolidative towards the 5-day. That is a drop as of right now. You know, it is not. Where's a good example? Damn, this thing just drops at times. Well, I mean, you would say like that, right? Even though that was ugly, it remained in some. Maybe we need to see more price action here, but this was a little bit more flushy, like these moments. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Do we get the 3? Man, that is worrisome. Amazon, bunch of flat divergences, but nothing too crazy. Google, can't confirm the move higher just yet. Netflix was one I was seriously looking at. Netflix, I would keep an eye on. Netflix is saying it might need a bigger drop. That's a 2-hour steep divergence right there. Notice what? We see the divergence here, flat, if not a little bit down for the RSI, not on the MACD at the same time. Now you have it at the same time. This can be a problem for Netflix. This can be a bigger daily pullback. Maybe we just go down to here. That would be kind of a good level, 866. But if we really want to get down, we could go down to 820. We could go all the way down to like 790. Right, just looking at some key places. And we just want to see, you know, it's less about, hey, this is a support, this is a support, I'm going to buy at these. It's more, do I see reversal signal here? Do I see reversal signal here? Do I see it here? Do I see it here? Because this daily is way high up, so the likelihood that this pops back up is very high. And we'll just see if that can remain strong and then turn up. You can see positivity and then watch out. Just like we're paying attention to it here, we see the divergence now. It's not on the MACD at the same time. Once it's at the same time, that's when you start to go, ooh, might need to be a little bit more cautious here. All right, we're wicking up. We're kind of flagging right now, like on this 5 minute, kind of flagging. SPY, are you flagging? Ooh, dropped a little bit more than a flag. But Q's still flagging, and Q's are the thing really holding us up now. You saw that major move from the Q's. DJ. All right, Donald Trump, your stock did not want to confirm the move higher yet. Sofi, reached down, weekly expected move, bounced right up. Now it might curl up into positive territory on a 30 minute. Watch for the 2 hour to curl up from something like Sofi, because that is a lot of buying pressure. That might be your opportunity, right? This is the 2 hour pullback. Sofi, if you're looking at it, first of all, weekly expected move right there, just above the wick. All right, you curl up. Now that 30 minute, now is this a retest, a breakdown? Is it going to take it back? Well, I would like a confirmation of the 2 hour here, and you got some room. You got some room to test this high, and then maybe even go make a new one. Maybe you see something crazy. Palantir, just a crazy move again. Getting rid of the divergence again, so still continuing for Palantir. That is one I've been critical on, and it just keeps, it gets this nice drop, and then we said, okay, watch out, that thing's going in the uptrend again. It gets this, we go, watch out, okay, it curls up again. It's not, the 30 minute is just like in that 5-day moving average. You can really see that throughout the run. And it might not be done. I don't think it has daily signals, right? That could just daily pullback and then end up higher than 75 later. PCC starting to rise now, 0.81. Alrighty. Well, guys, I do have to hop off. It's reaching about over my time limit, to be honest, so I do have to hop off. I appreciate you guys being here today. I would just be looking out for the signals to prove what you're thinking, and if this just sees some kind of little move down, right, little move down to the 5 and curls back up, you can keep seeing positivity. Be open to more positivity. We are not in a moment of greed. If anything, we are going to neutral, so we have a lot of people trying to call some kind of crash. It doesn't mean some kind of downturn can happen. But if we really look at the daily scale on a lot of these charts, an upward move on the daily scale would be likely. It doesn't mean we can't revert back down to a key level, or maybe on the SPY react down to, as we're testing top Bollinger again, really, can we revert down, get that little retracement back, and then end up curling up over time? And then right as people get bullish, we start to see bearish signals, because you do not necessarily see them at this moment. But I wanted to shout you guys out and say thank you so much for joining today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I like that Georgie came in and said, like, hey, I'm going to have a good weekend because I made some money today and I'm going to wipe my hands clean. I'm going to be like, all right, cool. Now let me look for some opportunities next week. Yeah, I think that's great. So thank you for hanging out today. Thank you guys for making it fun. Thank you guys for asking a lot of questions, and thank you for bringing up cool things like FFIE. I think that's fun for the fun account of mine, and I appreciate you guys being here every day, liking the video, subscribing, donating your hard-earned money. I think that's fantastic, and I thank you so much. My family thanks you so much, and I hope you have a great weekend, all right? Peace out, homies. Yeah, and 600 would make sense. It's a key level. 599.76 is what I have marked off, but 600 is where a lot of things happen. I think that's where where you could go into negative gamma. And then 600 is where a huge, at least the bigger put wall is sitting, the first one you're really going to run into. So just pay attention to it. But peace out, guys. Have a great day.